Do we have anybody that's never been here before? This gentleman right here, can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, just me.
What's your name?
Oh, me? I'm Gordon Rourke.
Gordon? And that's the only hand I saw up, right? Gordon, how'd you find out about it? Oh, through Mary.
There you go.
Okay, good. And I've already told Gordon pretty much about when we meet and so forth, so we don't have to review that again. Today's meeting is going to be tutor for iCloud for the iPhone. And we're going to use one of the Note Bloom tutorials to review it. The group, Naples Mac User Group, has become close with the fellow that writes these tutorials and does them. And he's been doing it for, I think, about 10 years. Used to be an Apple genius, and then got into this tutorial business. And he does a great job, along with...
Sorry, George. Got the mute.
Anyway, he does a great job, but right now he's going through some health issues. He's got cancer of the appendix, had the appendix removed, and but they have to, I guess that cancer of the appendix can spread pretty quickly. And he's going to have some pretty serious surgery in the next couple weeks. But I think he'll be fine. Anyway, he does a great job of trying to logically approach this issue of the cloud for the iPhone and try to make it very understandable to the average human being, which is very difficult for a lot of Apple people to understand the cloud and the photo library and so forth and so on. So let's start, and I'm not going to try to hit all of them, but some of the ones that I thought were extremely important. First of all, how many here have an iPhone 7, the most current iPhone? And everybody else, I assume, probably has the phone before that? Yeah. Okay. On the, he's going to review here the location of some of this information changes. Or no, excuse me, it's not the phone, it's the, is everybody using the most current iOS?
Yeah.
Okay, then you're probably all okay.
Tutorial. Apple made a little change since I've recorded this tutorial. They changed where iCloud settings are located in the Settings app. Let's see what I'm talking about. Let's go to my iPhone. Now throughout the tutorial, I'm going to be showing you where we need to go in iCloud settings. If you haven't updated your iPhone, you're going to find these in the Settings app. Tap on it, and then all you need to do is just scroll up until you find iCloud. Now if you've updated to version 10.3.1 or later, they've changed where these iCloud settings are located. They are now located at the very top. All we have to do is just tap on the name, and you're going to see iCloud. I tap on it, and I have all of my different settings. They also changed where we set up our family sharing. To set up family sharing, what we need to do is we need to go and tap on Apple ID in the upper left-hand corner, and then we just tap on family sharing. Now if you use iTunes and iBooks to purchase books and music, then what you want to do is you want to tap on iTunes and App Store to set up your account. This also is located in our list of settings in previous versions of iOS. So when you see me go into the settings for iCloud, and you have an older version of iOS on your iPhone, just follow what I'm saying in the tutorial. If you've updated your iPhone to version 10.3.1 or later, Then what you'll want to do is you'll want to go to the very top of your settings app and then tap on your name. From there, you're going to find your iCloud settings.
Everybody pretty much find that?
Oh, yeah, now.
Okay. Because that's a change from the previous iOSs.
So now that we know how to find our iCloud settings, let's take a look at Tutor for iCloud for the iPhone. In this video, we're going to take a look at what iCloud is and what it has to offer. So what is iCloud? Well, iCloud is a group of services offered by Apple that can keep your devices in sync. These services include photos, calendar events, mail, notes, reminders, contacts, and more. As an example, if you're using iCloud on your Mac and iPhone, when you add a new contact on your iPhone, it will show up on your Mac. When you edit a calendar event on your Mac, the updated event will show up on your iPhone. You add a new reminder to the Reminders app on your iPhone, it'll show up on your Mac. You can also share documents with iCloud. As an example, you can start working on a document in Pages or Numbers on your Mac, and then finish it on your iPad or your iPhone using iCloud Drive. I use this quite a bit. I have a budget spreadsheet that I've created in Numbers on my Mac. I can easily access that budget from my iPhone or my iPad. So iCloud is a way to keep your documents and photos in sync across multiple devices. iCloud also will back up your iPhone or your iPad on a daily basis, as long as it's plugged in and on a network. This way, if something happens to your iOS device, you can easily restore a recent backup to your device or even a new device. So how does it work? Well, it works by storing data in the cloud or on Apple's servers. In order for iCloud to work at its best, your devices do need to have a connection to the internet so it can connect to Apple's servers. When I go and add a contact to my Contacts app on my iPhone, it's going to upload it to Apple's servers, and then my Mac will download that new contact to the Mac. So we do need to have an internet connection for iCloud to work at its fullest extent. Now, if you're worried about security, Apple does encrypt all of your data when it is sent over the internet to your servers. So what types of services does iCloud offer? iCloud Photo Library. This is where we can share photos across different devices. I take a photo on my iPhone, it shows up on my iPad or on my Mac. I edit a photo on my Mac, it shows up edited on my iPhone. We have iCloud Drive. This is where we can share documents across different devices. We can also share our documents in desktop folder on our Macs. We have backup. This is where we can back up our iPhone or our iPad devices to iCloud. Notes. We can easily share notes across all of our different devices. iTunes. If you're an Apple Music member, all your music is stored in iCloud, so you can easily access it from any device. With Mail, your iCloud Mail account and the respective mailboxes that you create are shared among all of your different devices. You get an email on your Mac, you can also read that email on your iPhone. If you go and move that to a different mailbox on your iPhone, that mail message will also be shown in that same new mailbox on your Mac. Calendar. We can create different calendars and events, and these are shared across all of our different devices. Contacts. When we create a new contact, our contact is shared among all of our different devices. I also have reminders. I create a reminder on my iPhone, it shows up on my Mac or my iPad. We also have family sharing. With family sharing, we can share purchases, calendars, reminders, and more with other family members. We also have by my iPhone, iPad, or Mac. iCloud can help us locate our different devices when we lose them. We have Safari and Keychain. When we create a bookmark, open a browser window or tab, or add an item to our reading list on the Mac, it'll show up on our iPad and our iPhone. So we can start browsing on our Mac and then continue browsing on our iPhone. We can also share our account names and passwords using Keychain. And then we also have iCloud.com. We can access most of our data from any computer as long as we have a web browser. All we have to do is just go to iCloud.com, we log in, and we can see all of our different contacts, calendars, events, reminders, and even photos. So that's what iCloud is and what it has to offer. Now throughout the tutorial, we're going to take a closer look at some of these different services. But before we do that, let's first look at how we set up iCloud on our Mac. So let's take a look at how we set up iCloud on our Mac in the next video. So now let's take a look at how we set up iCloud on our iPhone. Let's go to my iPhone. To set up iCloud, what we need to do is we need to go to our Settings app. Tap on it. And then what we do is we scroll up until we see iCloud. Let's go ahead and tap on it. Now from here, what we need to do is we need to enter in our Apple ID. Now what is your Apple ID? Well, if you've ever made a purchase in iTunes or from Apple.com or from an app store, you've used an Apple ID to make that purchase. This is the Apple ID that you want to enter in to these two fields here, the username and password. Now, if you're not sure if you have an Apple ID or if you forgot your Apple ID or the password, what you can do is you can click on Forgot Apple ID or Password. When you tap on Forgot Apple ID, you'll enter in your email address, and then Apple will go and check to see if you have an Apple ID. So this is a good way to see if you have an Apple ID. If you do not have an Apple ID, then what you do is you go down to the bottom and you tap on Create a new Apple ID. So I have an Apple ID, so I'm going to go and tap on this here and enter in my Apple ID. It's just No More Productions at iCloud.com. So I'm just going to tap it in here. And then I go and tap on Required here. This is where we have the password. So I type in the password. So I have my password in there. And now all I do is just tap on Sign In. Now once we sign in, Apple will ask us if we want to use two-factor authentication. Well, what is two-factor authentication? Well, two-factor authentication adds another layer of security to your account. Basically what it does is it helps ensure that you are the person who is accessing your iCloud account. Now how does it do this? Well, it does this by sending a passcode to another device. So I'll enter in my username and password. This is the first part of two-factor authentication. And then from there, I'm going to get a passcode on my iPhone, and I have to enter in that passcode. This is the second part of two-factor authentication. Again, essentially what it does is it helps ensure that you are the person who is accessing that account. If you do not have two-factor authentication enabled on your iPhone, which you do not have to have, anyone that knows your username and password, or may be able to guess your username and password, is going to be able to access your iCloud account. So if your password is not real secure and you use your standard email address, anyone that knows your email address and can guess your password is going to be able to get into your iCloud account when you do not have two-factor authentication enabled. So by default, iCloud will enable two-factor authentication here. So now when I click on Continue, I'm going to need to enter in the second part of the two-factor authentication, my iPhone phone number. So then iCloud knows where to send that passcode to verify that it is me. So now let's tap on Continue and see where we enter in the phone number. The next thing we need to do is we need to set how we want to verify. We can verify using a text message or a phone call. I'm going to use text message. So now when I go to sign into iCloud and I have two-factor authentication enabled, I enter my username, my password, and then the phone using this phone number is going to get a text message with a passcode. I enter in that passcode, and then I can log into iCloud.com. So I have my phone number in here. I have it verifying using a text message. Now what we need to do is we need to tap on Next in the upper right-hand corner. From here, what I need to do is I need to go and enter in my passcode from my iPhone. This is how iCloud is verifying that it is me, because it's sent a passcode to my iPhone. This is the second part of two-factor authentication. So I'm going to type in, it's 087-817. This passcode changes each time you need to verify. And now it is verified. So now I'm using two-factor authentication. Anytime I need to get into iCloud, even iCloud.com, I'm going to have to verify with my iPhone. Again, this just adds another layer of security. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to go and enter in my passcode. This is the passcode that I'm using on the iPhone. Now, I tried this earlier and I accidentally entered in the wrong passcode. So I'm going to enter in the correct one here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we can see that I'm signing in to iCloud. Now, some of my data is stored on my MacBook Pro because I have iCloud connected to my MacBook Pro. So now what it's doing is it's asking me for the password to my account on my MacBook Pro. So I go ahead and type it in, and then I tap on Done, and now I'll be able to access the data on my MacBook Pro. So as you can see, there's a lot of security layers to iCloud. The good news is we really only have to enter in these different security layers one time. So now that I'm in iCloud on my iPhone, I will no longer have to go and verify it again. If I want to view data on my Mac, I will no longer have to go and enter in my Mac password. We really only have to do this one time when we're setting it up. But when we want to log into our iCloud account, let's say I want to log into iCloud.com at a later date. I entered my username and password, but then I'm also going to get a passcode sent to that phone number that I entered in when I set up my two-factor authentication. I enter in that passcode, and then I will be able to log into iCloud.com. So it just adds another layer of security, but we really only have to use these when we set up iCloud. So now we're in iCloud. We still have a couple more steps before it's all set up. The next thing we need to do is we need to decide what we want to do with the data that is on the iPhone. Do we want to merge it with iCloud? Well, what data are we merging? Well, if we look here, you're going to see it says your Safari data, reminders, and news data on this iPhone will be uploaded and merged with iCloud. This will only happen if I tap on Merge. So if I want to merge this data with iCloud so I can access it from another device, such as an iPad or even my Mac, I would tap on Merge. If I don't want to merge it, then I tap on Don't Merge. Well, I want to merge this data, so I'm going to tap on Merge. The last thing we have here is Find My iPhone. This is enabled by default. So this is all that it is telling us, that Find My iPhone is now enabled. What we'll be able to do is we'll be able to log into iCloud.com from any browser, and then we'll be able to see where our iPhone is located. Again, this is enabled by default, so this is all this is telling me. So I'm going to tap on OK. So now we have set up iCloud. Again, it's a little bit of work to set it up, but once we have it set up, it just works automatically. We really don't have to worry about anything anymore. Our data will just sync with iCloud. If I wanted to check out my account, all I have to do is just tap on my name here, and I can check out my account. I can see my contact information, my password and security, which devices are connected to iCloud, as well as set up my payment options. I'm going to go back to iCloud. Our next option is for family sharing. We'll talk a little bit more about family sharing later on. But from here, what we can do is we can have up to 6 members of the family share their iCloud accounts. So you're going to have a shared family calendar, a shared family reminder list, and even a shared photo album in the Photos app. Again, we'll talk about this later on in the tutorial. We can check out our storage. Again, we'll take a look at this later on in the tutorial. And then below that, we have all of our different services that iCloud has to offer. We have iCloud Drive, where we can share files. We have photos, mail, contacts, calendars, reminders, Safari, Home, which is for home automation, notes, news, wallet, keychain, and backup. Now, we do not have to use any or all of these different services. If we look here, you're going to see that I do not have reminders and Safari checked. So now it's not going to share my bookmarks, and it's not going to share my reminder list with my other devices. Well, I want to do that. Well, all we have to do is just tap on these 2 sliders. I'm going to tap on Merge, and we're going to merge. And now it's going to share my reminders list and my Safari bookmarks and reading list. We keep scrolling up. We also have Find My iPhone. And then down towards the bottom, we have some advanced options. Tap on Mail. And then I can set my name for my iCloud account, as well as some more advanced options. I usually leave these at default. So I'm going to tap on Cancel. And then we also have Share My Location. If you have an iPad and an iPhone, and they both have GPS chip in, so they know where you are, when you want to share your location, which device do you want to use? This is where you can set which device you want to use. Tap on Share My Location, and you can set if you want to share your location at all, and then you can set from which device you want to share your location. I'm going to use my iPhone. Let's go back to iCloud. Our last option is to sign out. So that's how we set up iCloud on our iPhone. We just need to go to Settings and then go to iCloud. We enter in our Apple ID. Once we enter in our Apple ID, we need to go through a few security layers. This includes enabling two-factor authentication. This is where we have to authorize any access through our iCloud account through another device, such as your iPhone. From there, you'll have to enter in your iPhone passcode. And then, if you have any data on your Mac, you'll need to enter in your account password for your Mac. Once you do that, iCloud will be enabled. From there, we'll just set up which services we want to use. When we set up services, on some of them we'll be able to set if we want to merge the data from our iPhone with our iCloud data. So that's how we set up iCloud on our iPhone.
Yes, sir.
I think I see a problem with the two-factor identification. If you misplace your phone, and you set it up as the recipient of the code, then you go to any other computer, go on iCloud to find my phone, you cannot get on iCloud because you cannot get your two-factor identification. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, I've had that experience. I had to disconnect the two-factor authentication. It only went to the phone. I didn't know where the phone was, and I couldn't verify it. And exactly that problem. I was wondering, as he was talking, if there's some other way around that. I had to disconnect the two-factor authentication because it was.
You don't have to set up I have it. Does everybody pretty much have both processes set up? No?
I have it for a couple of things.
What was that?
I said I had two-factor identification for a couple of things. Social Security for one.
Right.
And I think my Verizon account, I've got two-factor identification.
Yeah, you're going to be, more and more of the world's going to go towards that. But if you're concerned about what Bill just mentioned, you might want to just stick with the one. Yes?
You can get a verification code sent to a different device if you can't find the device like you were talking. You go to that device and you go to the settings and you go log into iCloud, then password and security you push on, and at the bottom it says get verification code, and then it will send it to that device. So if you on your iPad, it'll send it to the iPad, get your own.
So you can change.
That is not my brilliance. The Apple support guy told me this.
Well,
I had the problem that you were describing.
Okay,
so there's a way around it.
Yeah, there's a way around it.
It's got to be one of your
When I leave my
devices.
phone in the house,
You have to have another
I just
device.
store myself from the house phone, and my wife and I don't know, I'm sitting at the phone.
Okay.
But it won't send to two devices at once, like your iPad and your phone.
What's that?
You can't set it up so it would automatically send to both messages on your iPad and your iPhone, which would alleviate Bill's problem if he had an iPad.
Only send it to one device.
That undermines the authentication process, does it not?
I believe it's only one or the other. Okay, which one, let's see, client. Okay. Now we're going to review iCloud Photo Library.
In this video, we're going to take a look at how we enable iCloud Photo Library on our iPhone. With iCloud Photo Library, we can store all of our photos in the cloud in addition to storing them on our iPad. Let's Let's see how we do this. Let's go to my iPhone. The first thing we need to do is we need to go to our iCloud settings. To do that, we go to Settings. Tap on it. And now what we need to do is we need to go to iCloud. Tap on it. And then we tap on Photos. From here we're going to have a few different options. The first option is what we're going to look at in this video, iCloud Photo Library. When I turn this on, what's going to happen is my iPhone is going to upload all my photos on my iPhone into the cloud. So then what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to access those same photos from another device that is using iCloud. So if I take a picture with my iPhone, it'll upload it to iCloud, and then I can go to my Mac and edit that picture. Once I edit that picture, it edits it in iCloud, and then I'll be able to see the edited picture back on my iPhone. So all of our devices are going to use the same photo library, and it's all going to be stored in iCloud. Let's go ahead and tap on the slider here to turn it on. We do have a couple of options when we use iCloud Photo Library. What we can do is we can optimize.
I want everybody really to try to understand this next part, critical. We had this question a few weeks ago, and the answer really is to use, if you have a concern for the amount of storage on your iDevices, you'll use optimized iPhone storage. And he's going to, I believe, explain it in such a way that everybody should pretty much understand it. And if you don't, we can discuss it further.
Our phone storage, or we can download and keep originals. Now, what's the difference? Well, when I take a photo with my iPhone, right now, because I have download and keep originals checked, what's going to happen is the original photo is going to be stored on my iPhone, and it's going to be stored in iCloud. Now, when I do this, it is going to take up more space because all of the original photos, the high-res photos, are going to be stored on my iPhone. If you're running out of space, what you may want to do is go and tap on Optimize Phone Storage. When you do this, your high-res photos are going to be uploaded into iCloud, and then your phone will store a low-res version of that photo. So you can still view it, but it'll just be a low-res version. If you want to edit that photo, it'll download the high-res version. You'll make your edit, and then it'll upload the high-res version back into the cloud. It does this all automatically. So if you're running short on space on your iPhone, you'll want to use optimized iPhone storage. So all of your photos, the high-res photos, are stored in the cloud. If you have a lot of space on your iPhone, you may want to use download and keep originals. So then you have the originals on your iPhone. So if you go and make an edit, it doesn't actually have to download it from iCloud. So that's all there is to use an iCloud Photo Library. Once you turn this on, you take a photo, it'll just upload that photo into iCloud. Now we can also access these same settings from the Photos settings. Let's go ahead and tap on iCloud. And I'm going to tap on Settings. And then if we scroll up here, you're going to see we have Photos and Camera. I tap on it. And again, we have iCloud Photo Library and Optimize and Download and Keep Originals. So we can access these settings either from iCloud or from our Photos and Camera settings. So that's all we have to do to enable iCloud Photo Library. We just go into iCloud or Photos and Camera and turn on iCloud Photo Library. Once we do that, all of our photos are going to be uploaded into the cloud. If we want to keep the originals on our iPhone, we want to make sure that we set download and keep originals. It will take up more space. So if you're running out of space, what you may want to use is optimized iPhone storage. From there, it's all automatic. We take a photo on our iPhone, it'll just upload into iCloud. We had photos from our Mac, we'll be able to view them on our iPhone because they're all using the same photo library. So that's how we use the iCloud Photo Library on our iPhone.
If you have more, you can only have one photo library assigned to the cloud. So if you have many photo libraries, or more than one set up, you have one for family, one for business, or whatever, you can only assign one photo library, which is called the system library, to the cloud. So if you have more than one photo library, the only one that's going to have the pictures that are going to be shared with all your other devices is the one that's assigned, or it's called the system library. Bill?
If you select optimized storage, then you get the smaller resolution on your phone. If you switch back to store it on this device, does that apply only to new photos?
Everyone?
So they'll download again
Yes.
full resolution?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you switch that on, if it's off now and you switch it on, you'll see the activity begin to take place.
And the storage change
Right,
on your phone?
right.
Okay.
So if there's any concern about your storage, use Optimize.
Is there any way to send one photo in high res if you're using Optimize by going into edit and then distributing it before you upload it again? Can that be done? Somebody asked for a high res version of a photo. Can you get just that one without going through the...
Send it to them from your Mac.
All right? So if you send it to the Mac, always send it the high res ones?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That'll work. Thank you.
Well, if you identified the photo and opened it up in edit, it's going to download.
Right.
So you would then be able to, I would
That
think,
was what I was asking. Can you send it on after it's been downloaded to edit?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So the answer is yes.
Okay, so that was...
Once you
so now
edit
you
it-
have the little arrow with the thing.
Right, but then you got to make sure that, because it usually gives you the option,
Which one you want.
yeah, small, medium, large, or actual.
Okay.
And if you're sending a photograph, by the way, and I go crazy with this all the time, because people that send me photographs, I make calendars for my entire family, and they send me the photographs. My daughters send me the photographs of their family, and I said, when you send me the photographs, make sure you send them to me in the actual resolution that they were taken in. And don't let it sneak through as a small or a medium. Make sure it's either I want it actual, so that when I put it on the Apple calendar, Apple will warn me if the picture doesn't have enough resolution before they print the calendar. So you pretty much, if somebody's going to print a picture, send it to them in the actual. Yes?
Won't you run into size problems via email if you send it actual size?
Yes and no. What I usually do then is I do one of two things. Number one, you can spread them out between many emails,
Oh, okay.
so you're not dealing with that problem. Or Dropbox.
I get it.
And that's pretty much in other words, the other day, I took 200 photos of the graduation of the kids at the preschool. And I had to get those photographs to the preschool. And because they put them on Facebook and whatever. And I put them in Dropbox, and we communicate by Dropbox.
I just got an hour and 15-minute video that way.
Right.
And the thing is, I forget about that as a possible way of overcoming the too large files.
Dropbox is great for large files like that.
Yeah, I just bought their 1 gigabyte option. They had a sale on it for like $60. You could get 1 gigabyte.
1 gigabyte,
Yeah,
I mean terabyte.
terabyte.
Right.
What did I say?
Gigabyte.
Well, I was saving erasers, pictures of erasers. Right, terabyte. They had 1 terabyte for like $60
Yeah.
for the year.
I have yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah.
You got it for $60?
Yeah, that's why I jumped on it. Up to that point, I'd only had the 5 gigabyte.
That's interesting, I'm gonna write him a note, because I'm paying $100 a year for that.
Oh, this was several months ago. This was like 3 or 4 months ago.
So what's the renewal on it? Is it $100?
I'm sure I'll find out when it appears on my credit card.
You know, that's something that everybody has to watch when they sign up for anything,
Yeah.
is watch what the renewal is, or don't give them your credit card. And the Sirius radio is the biggest thing in the ass in the world. Yes, Bob?
I don't know how many people use Lightroom, but those of you who use Lightroom, Adobe has Creative Cloud, and you can do full resolution across. Lightroom also has an app which lets you take pictures on your iPhone, just like the Apple app. And it's the same Lightroom app, one app that does everything. And you can add it and do everything.
You know, Bob, that might be a good meeting to talk about Lightroom, not necessarily from an editing point of view, but a lot of people who love iPhoto, as Don can talk about, have been frustrated as heck with photos and have chosen Lightroom as the alternative. And part of the success of Adobe in recent years, and if you've watched their stock, it's skyrocketed, I think has been the fact that a lot of Apple users of Aperture and iPhoto, Aperture is being discontinued, and so is iPhoto, and they moved to...
Adobe actually worked out their Creative Cloud jointly with Apple.
Right. So that would be an interesting meeting, because some people like Don are very frustrated that he can't do certain things with photos that he can probably do.
And one other thing, if anybody is using RAW rather than JPEG for your original pictures, the Lightroom app can take RAW photos with your iPhone or other.
Don,
Yeah.
ask that question that he wants all the metadata to show up on the actual description of the photo. Am I saying it right, Don?
Yeah, and
I think in
iPhoto,
I think in the Lightroom app you can do it.
every picture. I didn't ever put names, so it always had the PS, the number assigned by the camera. So if I would, like that Monday, I took 600 pictures at the Veterans Day ceremony, and I'm going to send them to different people on the, who worked on the thing. So with iPhoto, I would go through and, I'd find the ones I wanted to send, and I'd write down the numbers. And then I would later go through and select those numbers and, put them in an email. But there's nothing on photos. It's just like your iPad. There's nothing. There's a picture. So sure, you can call up the metadata, but before it was just there. I would put the screen down for a very small iPhoto, icon, but I could read the number. So it was easy to go through 600 things and find the
I mean, the
numbers.
thumbnails.
Thumbnails, yeah.
Can Lightroom do that, give them that?
I'm not sure. Probably if you put those pictures into Lightroom, you can do it.
And that's not an Apple product, then? That's
Lightroom is an Adobe.
And how much does it cost?
The Lightroom,
Well, you can buy it different ways. You
the,
can buy a monthly.
yeah, it used to be that you pay $600 for Photoshop. It's $10 a month subscription to Creative Cloud. And you get Photoshop for it, full Photoshop and Lightroom
Uh,
for your Mac,
Thank you.
as well as free app on the phone.
Yeah, the app is free, right?
The app is free, but it only works if you have a subscription. So it's the $10 a month subscription.
I'm fairly certain when you export from Lightroom at Excel, it sends the XMP data with it, which is a small, very small file. So you can either email or Facebook it or Dropbox it from there.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
George,
Yeah.
question on the master, or what they call it, master Mac. I guess my iMac has become the master, so I take pictures with the iPhone and they go to my iMac, but they don't go to my MacBook Pro. And this thing said it goes to all your devices. What am I doing wrong? Do yours go to more than one device from your phone?
They go to all iDevices. Okay?
Oh,
iPhone, iPad,
no, that's not true in my case.
and your computer, where you have that library. That is your system library. So if you have, and that photo library is assigned to one of your computers.
Yeah, I don't have iCloud Photo Library, I just have the one that
Photo stream?
photo stream.
Right.
And it says, whenever I delete from either one, it says this will be deleted from all your devices, but that's not true. I have to delete them separately.
No, it should be, no. It should be, yes, it should be deleted from all your devices.
No, in my case, it doesn't work.
Well, because you're not using iPhoto Library,
Well, I'm using the partial.
iCloud Photo Library. You're using the photo stream.
Oh, okay,
If you use iCloud Photo Library,
right.
it will be deleted. So that's the advantage, yes.
Can you remove a photo from photo stream and keep the photo resident or send it somewhere?
Yeah, put it on your, put it in a separate album. Set up a, put it in other words, periodically I might go in and take a bunch of pictures that are in the photo stream, because I'm afraid that they're going to go away, when the 30 days are up or more than 1,000.
Yeah.
And I'll put them in a separate, on my Mac, I'll put them in a separate album.
Okay.
I might put iPhone pictures from 2017 or whatever, organized.
Are you talking about album or library?
Album. Then they'll be in your library on your Mac. They'll be in your photo library on your Mac. You don't have to worry about them disappearing from the stream. Or, and when they do disappear from the stream, they'll be in this other place. Okay, iCloud and my photo stream. This will really get you nice and confused, but he has a way of going about it, which is I mean, we've talked about it 1,000 times. And what's great about the Mac group, including my own head, is that once you become a member of this group, you got to stay with it, because you forget everything that we talked about one meeting to the next meeting. You got to come to the next meeting, and you got to belong to the group forever. It's like a thing. That's why my grandson said, I said, Leo, please come with me to the meeting. He said, why? I know everything. And he says, I can remember everything.
Well, that's true.
I said, but one day you'll want to join the group when you're about 90.
In this video, we're going to take a look at how we use iCloud with my photo stream on the iPhone. Let's go to my iPhone. Now we know how iCloud Photo Library works. Each device that is signed into your iCloud account is going to share the same photo library. If you go and edit a photo, that edited photo is going to show up on all of your devices. You go and take a photo or add a new photo, that new photo is going to show up on all of your different devices. My photo stream works a little bit different. Instead of sharing a library, each device is going to have their own library. But what they are going to share is an album called Photo Stream. Any new photo that you add to your library, let's say I add a new photo to this iPhone, it's going to show up in that photo stream, and then my other devices are going to be able to see that photo in the photo stream. To turn on my photo stream, what we need to do is we need to go to our Settings app. Tap on it. And now what we need to do is we need to go to iCloud. You can also go to your Photos settings. I'm going to tap on iCloud. And then what we need to do is we need to tap on Photos. The first thing I would do if you're using my photo stream is turn off iCloud Photo Library. Really, there is no reason to use both of these services. If you're using iCloud Photo Library, there really is no reason to use my photo stream. If you're using my photo stream, there really is no reason to use iCloud Photo Library. So you really want to use one or the other. I would recommend using iCloud Photo Library over top of my photo stream. But if you don't want to use iCloud Photo Library, you'd rather use my photo stream, first thing we do is we turn off iCloud Photo Library, and then what we do...
One of the advantages, probably the only advantage, to the photo stream is it takes up no space in the cloud. It's free space from Apple, and it takes up no space in the cloud.
As we go over to my photo stream, and then to the right, we have a little slider here. I tap on it, and now I am using my photo stream. So now when I go and take a photo with this iPhone, what it's going to do is it's going to add it to the iPhone's library, but it will not add it to my iPad's library, because my iPad's library is also using my photo stream and not iCloud Photo Library. So how do I view that photo in my iPad? You view it through an album called Photo Stream. Well, where do we find that? Well, we have to hit on the home button, and then what we do is we go over to Photos. I tap on it, and then what we do is we go over to our albums. Tap on it, and if you look, when I scroll up here, you're going to see we have an album called My Photo Stream. So now when I take a photo...
What I just said to Bill is that if there are photos in that photo stream that you never want to, you don't want them to disappear, evaporate, or go away, move them into another album, and they'll be safe on your computer.
But with my iPhone here, it's going to show up in this photo stream album. This photo stream album is also going to be included on my iPad and my Mac. So now I can see any photos that I've taken with my iPhone in that photo stream. Now this is a stream of photos, which means that they will disappear after a while. Basically it keeps about 1,000 photos or 30 days of photos in that stream. It's a moving stream of photos. So as you can see, this is a way of sharing photos across all of our different devices. But there's a couple of major differences between iCloud Photo Library and my photo stream. The first thing is the photo stream here only stores low-res versions of your photos. So if I take a photo with this iPhone, it's going to put the high-res version into my photos here, but it's going to put my low-res version of that same photo into my photo stream. When I go to my iPad, what do you think I'm going to see in the photo stream? The low-res version. Also, if I go and edit the photo, let's say I went to my photos here and I edited the photo. When I edit that photo, it does not share that edited photo with my photo stream. This is because each device has its own photo library. We are no longer sharing this same photo library as we are when we use iCloud Photo Library. So with my photo stream, we do have a way of sharing our photos. We do this through an album in our Photos app. These are low-res versions of the photos, and when we edit a photo, this photo does not show back up in my photo stream. With iCloud Photo Library, we are actually sharing the same library. So we can see our high-res versions, and when we edit a photo, that edited photo shows up on all of our different devices. This is why I recommend using iCloud Photo Library over top of my photo stream. But again, if you don't want to use iCloud Photo Library, you can't.
When he says over top, it means instead of.
Use my photo stream to share your photos. They're just going to be low-res versions, and any edited versions are not going to show up in my photo stream. So that's how we use my photo stream with iCloud. We first go and turn it on in iCloud settings in the Settings app. Usually what we will do is we'll also turn off iCloud Photo Library. Once we do that, we're going to have a new album in my photo stream. Any new photos that are added to any one of our devices using that same iCloud account are going to show up in my photo stream. Also, they will show up in the library of each one of our devices, but they're going to be low-res versions of that photo. So that's how we use my photo stream with iCloud on the iPhone. Now let's take a look at how we can share photos with iCloud Photo Sharing. Let's go to my iPhone. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to make sure that we have iCloud Photo Sharing turned on. To do that, we go to our Settings app, and then we need to go to iCloud. We can also go to our Photos and Camera settings. I'm going to go to iCloud here, and then we tap on Photos. At the very bottom, we have iCloud Photo Sharing. Let's go ahead and tap on the slider to turn it on. So now how do we use iCloud Photo Sharing? Well, in order to use it, we need...
This could be another solution, Jim, to the issue that we were just talking about with Dropbox. If you have more than one picture, you can communicate, you can get these pictures through iCloud Photo Sharing to other people. Think of that sharing as with other people, not with your own devices.
George,
Yes.
does it share low or high full resolution? Does it do?
I think you have it. I think, if my mind serves me right, when I shared pictures through iCloud Photo Sharing, I have a choice. I think I have a choice at some point as to what as to small, medium, large, or action.
To go to our Photos app. So I'm going to tap on the Home button, and now I'm going to go to Photos. Now if we go down towards the bottom, you're going to see we have a new tab called Shared. If you're not using iCloud Photo Library, you will not see this tab. Let's go ahead and tap on it. From here, what we need to do is we need to just tap on Start Sharing. When we do this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating an album. We can create multiple albums with iCloud Photo Sharing. So I have some photos of some big cats, some tigers, so I want to share those photos in an album called Cats. So now all I need to do is just go to Shared Album here, and then I type in Cats. So that's the name of my album. Again, we can have multiple albums. Now what I do is I tap on Next. The next thing I need to do is I need to decide who's going to be able to view these photos or this album. Now, they do have to have an iOS device such as an iPad or an iPhone, or they have to have a Mac to view this album. So I'm going to,
All right. He says this, but he also is going to tell you later on how to communicate with the other part of the world that does not, that's not in the Mac, does not have a Mac.
invite myself here. I'm just going to type in Dan Wassing, my personal email address here. I tap on Dan Wassing. Now, if I want to invite more people, I can just start typing their email address, or if I tap on the plus here, I can also choose from contacts in my contacts app. Now, once I invite the people who I want to view this album, what I do is I tap on Create. When I do this, anyone that I invited to view this album is going to get an invitation in their Photos app. If they accept that invitation, they're going to be able to see this new album that I just created, Cats, in that shared tab in Photos. So let's go ahead and tap on Create.
See, when I go into my own photo library and I go to that shared cloud-looking thing on the bottom and I open it, I have pictures that were shared with me from both of my son-in-laws and their families.
And we can see that I created Cats, and now I just got an invitation on my personal iPhone to view this album. This album is going to show in my shared tab on my personal iPhone. So now let's go and add some photos. To add photos to it, we just tap on Add Photos or Videos, and then we select the photos or videos we want to add. So I'm going to go and add a couple of these big cat photos. I just tap on the ones that I want to add, and then when I'm finished, I tap on Done, and now I've just added those photos. So if I go to my personal iPhone to the Shared tab, I'm going to see these 3 photos. Now, right now I'm looking at all of the activity in my shared album. So any new photos are going to show up here, any new invitations are going to show up here. Well, how do I go and view all of the different albums? Remember how we can have different albums? To do that, what we do is we tap on Sharing. Let's go ahead and tap on it. And now you're going to see I have Cats. I also have my activity album. To create a new album, I just tap on the plus. I go and name it, invite people who I want to be able to view this album, and then I go and add the photos or videos to this album. And they'll be able to see this album in their shared tab. They're going to see it in their activity album, and then they're also going to see it as a separate album. Now let's say I wanted to add more people to this Cats album after I created it. To do that, I tap on it, and then down at the bottom, you're going to see we have people. Tap on it. And from here, I can go and invite new people to view this album. I can also set anyone who has subscribed to it to be able to add their own photos and videos to the album. I have this turned on, so anyone that can view this album can also add their own photos and videos to this album. So basically what we have is we have a shared album that anyone can contribute to. We can also let other people view this album who do not have an iOS device or a Mac. The way we do that is we create a public website. Let's go ahead and tap on the slider to create a public website. And then all they have to do is just go to icloud.com and they'll be able to view this album. I'm going to turn this back off. We can also set if we want to receive notifications when new photos or videos are added to this album. To delete the album, we just tap on Delete Shared Album. I want to go and add new photos or videos. I go back over to Photos here, and then I tap on the plus. I can also do this from my photo library. I'm going to go and tap on Sharing here, and now I'm going to go to Photos. Let's say I wanted to add this photo here. I tap on it, and then what we do is we go to our shared icon, and you're going to see iCloud Photos sharing. All I have to do is just tap on it, and then from here, I just make sure that I have my cat's album selected, and then I just tap on Post. I can also go and add a comment if I wanted to. Now let's say I wanted to add this to a different album or even create a new album. Then what I do is I tap on Shared Album here, and I can select from all of my albums. I only have my one album right now, or I can go and tap on the plus to create a new album. Once I create that new album, I can also invite who I want to be able to see or subscribe to that album. So that's how we use iCloud photo sharing on the iPhone. We have to go to our settings app, and then go to iCloud, and then go to photos, and then we make sure that it is turned on. Once it is turned on, we're going to have a new tab called Share in the Photos app. When we tap on that, we can go and create new albums, as well as see all of our different activity for our shared albums. So that's how we use iCloud photo sharing on the iPhone.
Okay, I actually think that's enough to absorb today.
How many
And,
times the word photo used in that presentation?
I think most of our brains are full to capacity now. And what you're going to have, though, is I'll get this out probably with, I'm a little behind because I haven't done Marty's last meeting yet. Because I had all this preschool activity. But now that the kids are all graduated and finished, I can get back to the Mac videos. So I'll get this video to you in a few days, and you can review it as you play around with your libraries and try to share and so forth. Okay, we all set? Thank you.